there, I'm Amanda, and today I'm transforming my gloomy New England entryway with a bold splash of Miami Art Deco. Welcome to Acutely Amanda, the podcast where odd-numbered seasons explore fiction and even-numbered seasons dive into crafting, DIY, and the stories behind what we make. Since it's season 2, grab your craft hat. Today's project is peel and stick wallpaper. Let's get into it. When we moved into our first home in 2024, the walls were covered in this purplish gray color, and it was everywhere. The entryway, the bathroom, the kitchen, the stairwell, the bedroom. We painted a few rooms right away, but after that we were painted out. Then when the entryway coat hook randomly fell off one day, leaving a series of holes behind making it clear it happened before, I figured it was time to try something new. I'd always loved the idea of an accent wall, and when I found a gorgeous freestanding Art Deco coat rack, I knew I needed something to go with it. That's how I discovered peel and stick wallpaper. Traditional wallpaper involves either applying paste or using water-activated adhesive. Messy and pretty permanent. Since we had been long-term renters, my husband was understandably cautious about something that permanent. That's when I found peel and stick wallpaper. It's basically a giant removable sticker for your walls. I was cautioned that it's harder to do than it looks, but this was one flat wall without any windows or doors to cut around. It seemed like the ideal first attempt. Tempaper had the perfect Art Deco pattern called Royal Palm. It's palm trees with tropical birds, and I picked the off-white and gold colorway. I grabbed 2 rolls, a $6 squeegee, and hit order. I'll be real, this was harder than it sounded. If I did it again, I'd start on the least visible part of the wall, because that first panel, full of mistakes. The directions said to prep the wall with a 1-to-1 mix of isopropyl alcohol and water. So I started by washing the wall, letting it dry, then doing the alcohol wipe down. After that, it was time to apply. Now, full disclaimer, I didn't follow the official instructions from Tempaper. You can find those on their website. I went with what felt right for my very New England house, which means crooked walls, uneven floors, and a general refusal to cooperate with straight lines. If I'd used a level or a plumb line, the wallpaper would have looked visibly off. So, like most things I do with my house, I eyeballed it, and honestly it worked better. I did use the apply from the roll method they recommend as one of 2 options, the other being pre-cutting. I held the roll at the ceiling, lined it up, and slowly peeled and stuck it downward. You're supposed to trim the bottom with a box knife, but mine wasn't cooperating, so I used my embroiderista scissors instead. Not ideal, but it got the job done. One challenge I didn't anticipate. The pattern was larger and more spread out than I thought. Lining it up took some serious scrolling and precision. I was nervous I'd run out, but Tempaper's calculator must have accounted for this because I had just enough. Thankfully, the paper is pretty forgiving. I was able to peel it back and reposition when I made mistakes. And I did make mistakes. The first panel had the most air bubbles, but by the last one, I was cruising. That said, I did a quick web search and found that you can pinprick the largest bubbles and smooth the air out through the pinprick. I did that and it worked great. The internet also said you could blow on it with a blow dryer. This made me very nervous, but I did it anyway. It helped with one textured strip of wall, which was about 1 inch wide. You're not supposed to apply it to textured surfaces, but since it was such a small section, I figured it'd be fine. So far, so good. Anyway, it helped there, but not with the larger air bubbles. With those, I stuck with the pinprick method. So, would I recommend Tempaper wallpaper? Well, I'm thrilled with how our entryway looks now. The gold sheen of the palm trees and birds catches the light. It really brightens up our entryway in the large parts of the year in New England when everything is dreary. I love how we can see it from our kitchen. It brings a smile to my face every time. That said, it was, just as others warned me, more difficult to do than I anticipated. It took more time and was harder than I thought it would be. It's still doable, but I was glad I had some prior experience with tricky things like lining up patterns and eyeballing leveling. If you have less experience, it might be helpful to have a second set of hands. It's been a few months since I put it up, and so far it's showing no signs of peeling off. That's something we were worried about. I guess I'll have to give you an update in a few years to see how it's holding up then. But so far, we're very happy with it. Of course, I had to dig into the fascinating and sometimes deadly history of wallpaper. Boy, did I learn a lot when I investigated it for this episode. Wallpaper has always been a little transient. If you think about it, it's a decorative art that was never meant to last forever. The Chinese were the first to paste handmade wallpaper to walls as far back as 221 BCE. Over time, smoother fibers like linen made it easier to paint and print, and the skill of paper making eventually traveled west through the Silk Road. By the 1500s, wallpaper showed up in England, often inspired by Islamic tile work or Spanish and Italian textiles. In the 1700s, wallpaper really caught on in European homes, from countryside manors filled with Chinese bird and flower motifs to lower-income homes with block-printed designs. It was taxed in England, because of course it was, and that tax was eventually repealed, opening the door for mass production. Suddenly, wallpaper was everywhere, and the divide between the extravagant and the accessible versions grew wider. The arts and crafts movement pushed back against the industrial flood of cheaply made rolls. Designers like William Morris filled homes with beautiful nature-inspired prints. Though unfortunately, many early pigments contained arsenic, which made them, well, deadly. A few tragic child deaths and public pressure later, arsenic-free wallpaper became a thing. Wallpaper's popularity has always risen and fallen. Modernism tried to kill it with bare walls and clean lines, but panoramic murals, bold Victorian patterns, and even 1960s psychedelia kept bringing it back. One of my favorite wallpaper facts: bubble wrap was originally invented as a type of wallpaper in 1957. And what about wallpaper today? Digital printing and removable peel and stick wallpaper, like I used in this project, have made it renter and indecisive friendly, not to mention endlessly customizable. You can find eco-conscious designs, LED embedded papers, even heat-reactive florals that bloom near your radiator. I don't think wallpaper's going anywhere. It's too weird and wonderful, and like all good craft trends, it keeps reinventing itself. Although I am thrilled the peel and stick wallpaper is staying on so well, and I'm currently very happy with the design, I also take comfort in the fact that if I ever want a change of mood or style in the downstairs of my house, I can just peel this off and do another one for about $100. That's it for this episode of Acutely Amanda. If you had fun decorating with me today, give this episode a like. It really helps others find the show. Tried peel and stick wallpaper yourself, or thinking about it? Let me know in the comments or tag me on Instagram at opinionsofawolf. And don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss the next project. For more behind the scenes and all of my creative work, visit opinionsofawolf.com. See you next time. Bye!